Hello, welcome to Bits and Biology. My name's Liz, and today I'm going to play through a solo game of Ark Nova, followed by my review of the game. I'm not going to do a full rules teach. There are plenty of great teaching videos out there already, but I will point out the differences between the solo game and the multiplayer game. I will also let you know what the Marine Worlds expansion adds to the game. So Ark Nova is a tile placement set collection game for 1 to 4 players. Plays in about 1 to 2 hours, although if you have some players who are particularly prone to analysis paralysis, I've heard it can go on for much longer than that. I will talk a little bit more about that during my review. Ark Nova was the 2021 Golden Geek Heavy Game of the Year winner, as well as a winner and nominee for many other awards. In fact, too many to list here. It's a long list. It's currently ranked number 4 overall and number 3 for strategy games on Board Game Geek. And in Ark Nova, you're going to plan and design a modern, scientifically managed zoo by building enclosures to house animals, upgrading various features in your park, implementing programs, forming partnerships with universities and other organizations, other zoos, conservation organizations, and supporting conservation projects. In the end, the player with the most points is going to be the winner. Let's go down to the table where I'm pretty much set up for a solo game of Ark Nova. So here we are all set up for a solo game of Ark Nova. So I'm not going to do a full rules teach. There are plenty of great teaching videos out there on YouTube. What I will do is point out what the Marine Worlds expansion adds to the game, and then also the small difference between the multiplayer game and the solo game. So for the Marine Worlds expansion, what we're adding is a new university that's going to allow us to gain animal icons. We have new action cards or alternative action cards, and I'll talk about how those work here in a moment. We have new animal cards, so I have an example of one here. So these are going to be animals that, as you might guess, live in a marine environment. We also have some new final scoring cards. Oh, I didn't deal myself out some final scoring cards. We'll have to do that in a moment. And a few new bonus tiles, which I also need to put out to add into the mix. So if we run across any of those, I'll make sure to point them out. As far as the solo game goes, the setup is pretty much the same as the multiplayer game. The biggest difference is that we are going to use this little board here to keep track of the rounds. So there are no breaks as you find them in the multiplayer game. So we're not going to use this break track here. What we're going to do is every time we take a turn, we're going to move one of these little markers over to the right, so that in the first round we'll have 7 turns. Then at the end of that round, one of these cubes will come up here and block out a donation spot. Now we will have 6 turns in the second round, and so on. And then the game will be over when at the end of the 6th round, both of the cubes are over to the right. So we play over 6 rounds in the solo game with diminishing number of turns per round. So it's a pretty tight turn economy. You have to be very efficient with your actions if you expect to win. The win condition is the same as the end game condition in the multiplayer game, and that is when your score marker on the appeal track and the score marker on the conservation track pass each other. So if you manage to have a higher number for appeal than your target number, according to where you are on the conservation track, then you win the game and you can tally up your points. Otherwise, you have negative points, and I usually don't even count those. I just consider it a loss. So we're going to try and win. I don't very often win at this game. For the solo game, you can start with your appeal marker on either 20, 10, or 0. I've never been brave enough to do that. I think I've started at 10 before. It didn't turn out well for me. I usually start at 20. I still don't win most of the time, although I win enough to make it tantalizingly appealing to try to win. Okay, so we're going to start on 20. The other thing that comes with the Marine Worlds expansion is this nice little token. It has let's turn it around for you. It has a 45 on one side and a 35 on the other. Since we're starting at 20 appeal, we're going to put this at 45. And the reason for that is there are some cards, oh look, we have one here. There are some cards that you can only play as long as your appeal marker is at 25 or less. And so since we're starting at 20, we're going to put this marker on 45. So the rule for us is this would be a max 45. It just sort of scales what the maximum appeal is to be able to play that card. If we were starting at 10, then we would put this marker on 35. And if we were starting at 0, if we were very brave, then we wouldn't use that marker at all. All right, let's see. I need to deal some final goal cards. So you start with 2 of these, and once our conservation marker makes it to this 10 spot, we'll have to choose one of them. So I'll take a look at those in just a moment. And we also need to shuffle up these bonus tiles and put these where they belong on the board. So I'll just speed through this on the video. All right, another difference with the Marine Worlds expansion is we are going to put one of these bonus tiles down here at the end of the reputation track, so that if we do make it all the way to the end, we will have a choice between taking that bonus marker or gaining another appeal. I rarely make it all the way to the end of the reputation track in a solo game, so probably we won't have to worry about that. We've gotten some nice bonus tiles here, either a size 3 enclosure or a university, and this one gives us either a partner zoo or ×2 on one of our actions, which is quite valuable in the solo game since we get so few actions to begin with. A couple other things that come with the Marine Worlds expansion are these nice markers. Usually we would be using cubes for these. But we have these nice markers here for, I guess I should be turning this over, for the reputation track, for the appeal track, and then this really nice one here for the conservation track. We also get these nice tokens here for, they're different animals for the different colors. I think this one is a wolf for red, to mark our bonuses for fulfilling our conservation goals. So my camera doesn't quite catch the whole table without zooming out even more, and so I've tried to strike a balance between you being able to see everything and I've had to rearrange some things because of that. So normally these conservation cards would go underneath the association board, but instead these base conservation projects are over here on the left. If I manage to fulfill my own conservation projects, I'll put them here on the right and find a different home for my coffee. I am allowed, I think, 2, I'll have to look this up and verify it. I think I'm allowed 2 of these additional conservation projects. I usually am lucky to get 1, so I'm not too worried about it. This is one of my favorite games, but it has been a little while since I've played it, so if I make any rules mistakes, I encourage you to point them out to me, and I will pin those in a comment at the top of the comments section. All right, so at the start of the game, we are dealt 3 of these alternative action cards that come with the Marine Worlds expansion. So I was dealt cards, animals, and sponsors, and I get to choose 2 of these to keep. What these do is give you sort of an extra bonus to these actions. So for sponsors, I may trade 1 X marker for 5 money or vice versa. If I upgrade my sponsors card, I can also either pay an X marker or pay 5 money in order to move 1 on the reputation track. So I chose that one. I like that one. And then I chose the animals because if I have the animals action on strength 5 and I don't put 2 animals into my zoo, if I only do 1 animal, then I can ignore 1 condition on that animal. And if I manage to upgrade my animals card, then that ability goes all the way down to strength 3, which is great. Other than that, it's the same as the regular animals card. I didn't choose cards because while this is great for the multiplayer game, what this allows you to do is draw cards and not have to discard any cards when you're drawing off the deck. But to be honest, in the solo game, I more often snap cards from the display than I do draw cards off the deck. So this isn't quite as useful to me. Other than that, it's the same as the regular cards action card. So you also get dealt 8 cards from the deck, animal cards and sponsor cards, and so we'll choose 4 of these to keep, and we got dealt 2 of these bonus cards, and when we reach 10 on the conservation track, we will choose one of these to keep. So let's take a look at what we have. One is Designer Zoo. This is interesting. This must come with the Marine Worlds expansion. I don't think I've seen it before. This is gain conservation points for different shaped buildings in your zoo. That's interesting. Huh. That could really get good if you have some of these special buildings that come with the sponsors. And then this one is Accessible Zoo, gain conservation points for conditions on cards. So these, do I have any? Yeah, I do. These would be things like the fact that this American bison requires a whopping 3 America's icons in your zoo to be able to play it. So that would be 3 conditions on that one animal. That's interesting. Okay, but I try not to think about those too much. If I'm trying to decide between 2 cards and it tips the scale, those bonus cards, then I'll consider them. But otherwise, I don't consider them a huge amount. They don't give you a ton of points, although conservation points are worth quite a lot. All right, I think we are ready to get started. But first, we need to choose our cards. I almost forgot about that. All right, let's see. The first thing I'm going to look for is these base conservation projects. So we're looking for reptiles, Asia icons, and sea animals. And so if I have any of those, I'm going to consider those. No reptiles. Asia? No Asia. Oh, this one. This one's both a sea animal and an Asia icon, so that's definitely keeping that. Next, I like these sponsors cards usually. So let's see. We've got marine biologist. Oh, this is great. Each time a sea animal icon is played into any zoo, now in the solo game it's just my own zoo, but this is still pretty good because sea animals are one of my base conservation projects, so I might keep that. I would gain 3 money anytime that happens. One thing I do want to point out with this card is it has this little wave icon over here on the right hand side. When these come out into the display, it's going to cause us to discard this card all the way to the left and refill from the right. And so this allows us to cycle through the cards a little faster in the game. So that's a good one. I like that one. What's this other one? Oh, this one's great. Technology Institute, income, gain an X token. X tokens are fabulous. And then at the end of the game, this will give us a conservation point if we manage to have 3 universities, which could happen. It's hit or miss with me on that one. Okay, so definitely we're keeping these 3. We get to keep 1 more. Let's see, we've got petting zoo animal, a bird. We're definitely not keeping the Australian sea lion or the American bison. I tend to avoid early on in the game cards that have these requirements over on the left, although this one wouldn't be so bad. It just requires a partner zoo, but it's an Australian partner zoo. And since Australia is not one of our base conservation projects, I'm not so interested in that one right away. If it were to come up later, I might be interested in it because it gives you a conservation point, which is great, but I think not for the early game. I don't want that one. We have this cockerel safaka. This requires 17 money to play, but it's not terrible, so we're not taking those 2. Maybe the safaka. The greater Rhea. What does this one allow you to do? Reveal cards from the deck, take the first card with a primate into your hand, tuck the other cards under the deck, which means you'll never get to them. That is one thing about Ark Nova. We're not going to run out of cards. And in fact, these aren't all the cards. I took off like this much of them just because I wouldn't have been able to see the points over here. So this isn't even all the cards, but it's enough. I don't think we'll make it through that deck. This one allows me to draw a card from the deck, so that's pretty good. Let's choose that over the safaka. And now we're choosing between a petting zoo animal and a bird. Whew, that's a tough choice, actually. Petting zoo animals are weird for me. I mean, there's none in the display, so it's kind of risky. There's not a lot of them. I don't know the number of petting zoo animals, maybe a dozen, and that's a big deck, so I don't know, but it does give you, it lets you move on the reputation track, which is quite good. And this one would give us 3 points, this one would give us 5 points. This one requires a 3 enclosure, but I can use that enclosure for 2 additional animals, and the points are not that far different from each other. This one costs a lot more money, so maybe for the early game we go for the petting zoo animal. All right, that was quite a lot of thinking. So I'm going to keep the cards that I have not yet played over here. Oh, did I really? Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to keep the cards over here on the left that I have not yet played. And then the cards that I have played, I'm going to keep over here on the right, in addition to my 2 end of game bonus cards. Remember, I have to choose one of those by the time I get to 10 conservation points. All right, so let's get started. We start with 25 money. And the way I'm going to keep track, because some of these turns can get very complex, especially later in the game, is I like to take one of the cubes and put it on the card for the action that I'm doing so that I don't forget to move it over to the right. I can tell you from experience that that is something that is very easy to forget. So I think usually in the solo game, I'm going to go for a partner zoo pretty early for my association action. Let's take a look at the sponsors. Actually, let's do sponsors because we do have one that requires strength 5, and that's where our sponsors card is, so that's great. And this doesn't have any requirements to play it. It is looking for us to have 3 universities by the end of the game to get a conservation point, so that's quite nice. And I'm going to give myself a little reminder up here on income to remind myself, otherwise I'll forget to take this X token. So this is my little marker up here to remind me to take that I have more than just the income from the board. All right, so this moves over to the right and all these cards move over. This goes down to strength 1. Now we can do our association action. We obviously can't fulfill a conservation project yet. However, the choice here to me is between taking an Asia partner zoo or increasing my hand size to 5 and going 1 up on the reputation track, which would increase cards I have to choose from when I'm able to do that as a bonus action. So let's take a look at the cards that are out here. So this one's pretty good. This gives us a reptile icon. This doesn't give us anything. This one gives us a reptile icon. What is this? Gain 1 for each connected rock space. Gain 1 conservation for each 2 isolated rock spaces at the end of the game. That is a weird card. I don't think I like that one. Adventure Playground, place next to at least 1 rock space, and it gives us 4 points, so that's pretty easy. Doesn't cost us any money. Gives us a rock icon. Not that we really need them, but maybe that one. Horsefield's Tarsier requires an Asia partner zoo, which we might get at some point. Advance the break token 4 spaces. This does us no good in the solo game, but it does give us 4 money. Ooh, and it moves us 2 on the reputation track in addition to 3 points, and it gives us an Asia icon. Science Institute's pretty good. That just gives us 2 research icons, which can be useful for some cards. We don't really need them yet, but could be useful. So there are 3 cards out here that we like. One that we'll probably try to get right away, and I have 3 cards in hand. I'm trying to decide if I want to increase my hand size or, you know, I think I'm going to go for Partner Zoo first. I'm going to do that. Partner Zoo. So this is going to give me a 3 discount on cards that have an Asia icon on them. Animals from Asia, basically. So that is, oh, and I have to put my association worker up here for that. So that was the association action. Now, I know we're going to have to get rid of, oh no, we already got rid of one of our cards. Oh, we're doing pretty good. However, we do want to pick up this card before it goes away. At the end of the round, these 2 cards on the left will go away, and we won't be able to get those. So I like this European grass snake simply because it gives me a reptile icon, which I need for a conservation project, and it only takes up a size 1 enclosure or 0 in a reptile house, which is great, and it's cheap and it gives me 3 points. So pretty sure I want that card. Yeah, let's just do cards right now. We'll just do that, take that card, add it to our hand. Oops. And we're going to have to build an enclosure. What enclosure do we want to build? So we could build a petting zoo. What does this allow us to do? This allows us to get an X token, but that moves us up the reputation track. This one lets us put an action card on 1. Is that useful for us? Not really. So it's between these 2. Oh dear. This one I really want to build. Can I do that? I do have enough. I do have enough. Let's do this. Since we're on 5 with our build action, let's build a size 5 aquarium. So this is another thing the Marine Worlds expansion gives us, is a size 5 aquarium and a size 2 aquarium. You can only have one of each, maximum one of each in your zoo, but you can purchase these before you upgrade your build card, so that's great. So I'm going to purchase that. It's going to cost me 10 because it's a size 5 enclosure. Where do I want to put this? Oh, I forgot to look at my map. Well, I looked at it earlier, but so this one allows me to gain 1 income for each adjacent covered space around my park restaurant in the middle. I actually chose this one. I didn't do randomly. You're supposed to deal yourself 2 maps and choose one of them. I just chose the most thematic one for the video because I thought that would be more interesting. So this is our park restaurant, and we're going to earn more money for spaces that are around the park restaurant. So that seems to make thematic sense. Where can I put this? Has to be touching a border space. I don't think I can get up to my park restaurant quite yet. Oh yeah, I can. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to cover up. Oh, I should have looked at this. I don't want to cover that up yet. Do I have a choice? I think no matter what, we're going to cover up that choose. Oh, I need to, before I do that, I need to move these down. That might be important. Let's see. Nope. Okay. Well, shoot. I don't really want that reindeer. That doesn't do anything for me. It can share an existing enclosure with an herbivore that is a size 3 or greater enclosure. So that's not bad, actually. Okay, well, we'll just do that. So we're going to cover up, we take this card within reputation range because I'm covering up this bonus spot here. I don't think there's any way to not cover it up by taking that aquarium. All right, that was my build action. And now I have animals down here. Oh, interesting. I didn't really think about this when I got rid of, what did I discard? I discarded the Australian sea lion. I wouldn't have enough anyway. But I could ignore that requirement if I have the animals card on 5, strength 5, and I only play 1 animal, which is all I'm going to be able to do, I think. So let's do that. We will take the animals action, and I am going to play this guinea fowl puffer, and it is going to put 2 icons. This one has to go in an aquarium. That's why this 2 is red colored. Usually you can, for something like, for instance, this European grass snake can go in the reptile house or a size 1 enclosure and takes up 0 spaces in the reptile house, which is quite nice. But this one can only go in an aquarium, so you're limited to that. So you are limited to 7 animals total, or fewer. This one takes up 2 spaces, so we need 2 of our cubes to go onto our aquarium. And it's going to cost us 15, but minus 3 because we have an Asia partner zoo, so 12. It's going to cost us 12 to play that guinea fowl puffer. So I get 3 back. And this has a reef dweller action, so this is going to let me move 1 up the reputation track. So 1 up the reputation track, and I forgot to refill this once again. Oh, look, here we go. We have our orange clownfish has one of these wave icons. So this is what happens. We take this native lizards and discard it, and move everything down, and if we had another one, we would do the whole thing again, but we don't. Okay, so back to our turn. We've paid our money, put our cubes out. We moved 1 up the reputation track. We also gain an X token. So in the solo game, we don't do these sort of take that actions because really there's nobody to apply them to. And so we do the blue area down here where it says gain an X token. Honestly, when we play the multiplayer game in our household, we actually don't use the take that actions as well. So we play with the blue in the multiplayer game too. And I get to move 5 up the appeal track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, oh, and I forgot, when I played this Technology Institute, I was supposed to get an X token for that. That's the universal symbol, that lightning bolt for do this immediately. Okay, look, I've already done mulligans. I hate doing those in these solo videos because it makes them a little bit disorganized, but All right, we've done our animals action, so we put our cube over to the right. Now what? Oh, hey, look, sponsors is all the way up to 5 again. We could play this marine. Oh, I should have done that. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, I'm just gonna fast forward through all of this. I'm gonna undo my animals action real quick. Okay, I think I completely undid my animals action, almost. Okay, so here's my solo mulligan. You can't do this in the multiplayer game. Sponsors is on 4. I have my marine biologist here, which will give me money anytime I play a sea animal icon into my zoo. So I actually want to play this first, and it requires a strength of 4. So we're going to do that. I will put that on sponsors. So we play that sponsors card and do that. So we now have a marine biologist in our zoo, and we are friends with the Technology Institute, or we're being sponsored by them or something like that. Okay, now we're going to do the animals action, and it will cost us 12. I'm going to kind of speed through this since we already talked through this. I already have my cubes. I didn't take those off. We move one up the reputation track. We gain 5, and we gain an X token. All right. So I think I did all the things. Now these reef dweller actions are really nice because if I play another reef dweller into my zoo, I'll get to do this action again because reef dwellers benefit each other. Nice thematic touch there. All right, so I did play a sea animal icon into my zoo, so I get 3 money. All right, we have one more turn for this round. We are already down to 3 cards, so we're not going to have to worry about that. We can't play another association action because we only have 1 worker right now. I could do the cards action, but that would be kind of silly because then I would have to discard something unless there's something here I want. And actually, there is. I kind of want that adventure playground. It would get me 2 more money on the break, and I don't really care about this reindeer, so I don't care about discarding down to that, but then it would make the Science Institute go away. Oh dear, dear, oh dear. Which do I want more? Well, the Science Institute doesn't benefit. Oh, look at this. Oh man, this is horrible. It's like catch-22. So I like the adventure playground, but I also like the Science Institute. However, if I take either one of those, the other one's going to go away, and will this one go away? No, this one won't go away, not unless we get a wave icon over here. Oh, goodness gracious. These two kind of go together really nicely. So maybe I don't take Adventure Playground because maybe I want both of those. Okay, so we're not going to take the cards action, so I guess we'll just do the build action. What do we need? We don't really care about the reindeer. We do need a petting zoo, and we need a size 1 enclosure for this reptile because I can't get a reptile habitat or reptile house until I upgrade my build card, and that's going to be a little while. So which one should we do? We're on 3, so I guess we should do the petting zoo because we can do that, and we do have 6. We have exactly 6 money, so we can build a petting zoo. Where do we want to put our petting zoo? We'll probably put it next to the restaurant. That seems awfully unhygienic, but is that a good place to put it? Yeah, I think it's a good place to put it. So we will put our petting zoo next to our restaurant. And I paid my 6 money, and that was our last turn of the round. So we take this top cube, we put it up here. That blocks off that donation space. We move all of our cubes back over. I do have my hand size limit is 3. I'm down to 3 cards. I don't have any tokens on my action cards that I need to put back, so that's great. Then we take back our association worker. In the multiplayer game, we would replace that partner zoo, but we don't do that in the solo game because we're only allowed 1 of each of those anyway. So we've taken back our association worker. We take these 2 cards, bye-bye Adventure Playground, and move these down. Oh, I hope we don't get a wave icon. That's good. Don't get a wave icon. Yay. Okay, because we're interested in both of these cards. Because look, research icons. We've already got one in our zoo. We could get a university and give us 1 or 2 more, and this one gives us 2. So that is really nice. It's like a conservation project you don't have to work too hard for. Very rare. Oh, hey, we already have 2 sea animal icons in our zoo too. That's fantastic. We're doing pretty good. All right, keep on track, Liz. Now we're doing income. I get 18 income. Oh, plus 1 income for each adjacent covered space around my restaurant. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 18 plus 4 is 22 income. I have my little marker to remind me that I get additional income. So this allows me to get an X token as income. That's fantastic. Don't see this one very often. I love this card. All right, and so we've done our income, and I think we've done all the things. So now we are going into round 2. For round 2, we can do an association action and fulfill. Do we want to do a conservation project already? Yeah, there's not really. Well, here's a sea animal, but there's not other sea animals out here. We want to get that sea animal. How is this going to work? We're not going to be able to do all of that. We need to cover up one of these to take. Oh, look it, there's 2 of them. Nice. Okay, sorry, mumbling to myself. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. We are going to do the conservation action, or fulfill a conservation project. So I put my worker there, and then I get to choose one of these markers. Oh dear. You know, this one's really good. I've had this one before where I get to snap a card immediately, and as income I'll get to snap a card. And that's great because we're still early in the game. So let's do that. I usually in the multiplayer game would get an additional worker because that's even more important in the multiplayer game, because if somebody's already in a spot, it'll take 2 of your workers to go there. But you don't have to worry about that so much in the solo game. Although not that extra workers aren't valuable. They are. They're just slightly less valuable in the early game because you have so many turns in a round. So 1 worker usually gets used up. So we only have 2 sea animal icons, so I just get 2 points. But that is going to let me upgrade a card. So usually I either upgrade build or association early. Association lets me make donations if I upgrade that, and so that's great. And it allows me to do additional actions up to the strength on the card. So I could do, say, 2 association actions if I had the workers for it, which I don't yet. Build seems really nice because this is one of the most inefficient actions in the game. And by upgrading this card, I can now cover up these. Are there really only 3 of those? I haven't illegally covered those up yet. Nope. Yeah, there's only 3. Huh. Seems like less than usual. Anyway, let's upgrade the build card. I'm going to upgrade that. So I have a choice between upgrading a card or getting an extra worker. I always upgrade a card at this spot because there's only 4 places in the whole game for you to upgrade cards. And so there's here, 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 and 1 more here. And so at most you can upgrade 4 of your cards. So if you don't do 1 here, the most you can upgrade is 3. And I would rather have the option to maybe upgrade 4 if possible. All right, so we have fulfilled the conservation project. We did our association action. We moved that cube over. We have 1 fewer turn this round, so we only get 6 turns this round. And now we can do this cards action. It's gonna, hold on. I uncovered this bonus. I get to snap a card from here. So I am going to snap, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snap this, what am I gonna do? I think I'll be able to do the cards action one more time. I'm gonna snap this orange clownfish because I have a place to put it and it fulfills an animal. Oh, I already did the sea animals. Do I want to do that yet? Yeah. So I don't really need the sea animals anymore. Oh, but this has a reef dweller action of 2. Yes, that's a good one. Okay. But we don't need sea animals anymore, so I got to stop focusing on that. Oh dear, wait, let's not do that. Oh man, Science Institute might go away if we do that, but okay, so be it. Please don't be a wave. Thank goodness, Indian Cobra. That has a lot of requirements. All right, so we took that card. That was our bonus for doing conservation action, uncovering that bonus there. And now I have 2 income that are not part of the board. So I'm going to put a second marker up here so I remember. You can tell I need all these little reminders so I don't forget stuff. Okay, so for my second action, I will do the cards action. I'm going to take, I think the first thing I'm going to take is this. I'm going to snap this research conservation project because it requires research icons in my zoo. I already have one. I'm hoping to get that one if a wave icon doesn't come out. So we'll see in a moment. So that was my cards action. Let's see. Please don't. Oh, man. That's terrible. It's a wave icon. So I'll show it to you again. See this wave icon right here on the right side of the card? Whenever that comes out over here, we discard what's to the left. So we're discarding our Science Institute. Oh, that's just really too bad. Oh well, it was either going to be that or the research. So we have 5 cards over here. This is not great. We've already used our association worker, so we can't increase our hand size limit just yet. So we need to get rid of some of these cards. Did that action, move this card down. Next up, we don't have any sponsors, so that doesn't do us any good. We can play an animal. We would be able to play 2 animals if we boost this, so let's do that. Let's play the animals. We're going to use an X token to boost this by 1 so that I can play 2 animals, and I'm going to play this orange clownfish and my horse because I have places for both of those. So that's going to take cubes. Let's put these over on this side. Over here, 1 cube in my petting zoo, 1 cube in my aquarium. It's going to cost me, none of these have an Asia icon, so it's going to cost me a total of 17. Out of my 20, I get 3 back. And the clownfish is going to give me 2 on the appeal track, and it's going to activate this reef dweller action on my guinea fowl puffer, which is to move 1 up the reputation track. That seems quite a little bit overpowered. So let's keep our reef dwellers all together. And my horse, my petting zoo animal, gives me 3 for that icon. If I had more petting zoo icons, this is why I like petting zoo animals. If I had more petting zoo animals, I would get 3 for each petting zoo animal icon in my zoo. So I get 3 appeal. And it's going to move me 1 up the reputation track. So I'm zooming up the reputation track. That's fabulous. All right. So that turned out to be a pretty good card. I am down to 5 money, and we did our animals action, our boosted animals action. Now we're down to 3 cards. Great. What's this one? Landscape gardener. Each time you build a pavilion, I don't build pavilions very often, but I get an X marker. I'm already going to be swimming in X markers, I think, just because I get it as income. Common wall lizard. Ooh, that one's pretty good. We might get that when we do the cards action one more time. We don't need sea animal icons anymore, but this one's really good because it gives us a conservation point. This one has an interesting effect. You may remove 1 empty standard enclosure from your zoo map and gain back its cost. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Interesting. All right, so for our next turn, we don't have any sponsors to play, so that's going to sit there for a little while. I could move it down to get 5 money, I think, and an X token. I'll have to review that rule. Like I said, it's actually been a little while since I played this game, but I love this game. But let's do the build action. I can build 1 or more different buildings with a total maximum size of X. Now I only have 5 money, so let's build a size 1 enclosure. That's going to cost me 2 money. And I could build a kiosk, so that will also cost me 2 money. So let's do that. So I built 2 different buildings for a total of 4, which is the strength that I'm on. Or actually, 1 or more different buildings with a total maximum size of X. The size here is 2, actually. So where do I want to put this? I guess let's see. It'll be nice. Let's see. This needs to be next to water. Oh, I could cover up this right here, and that'll let me take a card within reputation range. So, or we could go here. Do I need that? Just yet. Let's save that. I'm going to put this here next to my aquarium. And my kiosk benefits from being next to a number of buildings, different number of buildings. So now I'm going to put this up here. So kiosks have to be separated by 2 or more spaces. The kiosk will give me money during the income phase. So we need to remember that. Let's put another marker up there. I don't think I have another white one, so let's do a yellow one. Nope, not yellow, because I'm using yellow for something else. Let's do a black one. We have 3 things to get income from in addition to the board. I think that's it. I've done everything. All right, move that cube over. And now we could do, oh, we can't do animals now. We don't have any money. Haha. We can't do sponsors, can't do association. Could do cards, but I don't want to do cards yet because I want to snap cards. I'm going to have to boost that to do that. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to look up the rule about what happens if I move the sponsors card down. Oh, it's not an X token at all. Oh, but you do get, okay, so that's where I'm thinking the X token. You get an X token for triggering the break. But what is it for moving a card down? Okay, so here's the X token action that I was thinking of. I can always, as my turn, move any card to 1 if it's not already there, and take an X token instead of taking the action. However, when you are taking the sponsor's action, this is an either or thing. So I can either play a sponsor card with a maximum level of the strength or trigger the break and gain money. We don't trigger the break in the solo game, so we don't get the X token for triggering the break. However, we would gain the money. And since we're taking the action on the card, we do not get an X token. However, I can move this down and gain 5 money, which seems like the best thing to do right now. So let's do that. And oh, wait a second. Uh-oh. No. Are we already on our last turn? I think so. I'm just going to trust that these are all in the right spot. No, what I want to do is use 2 X tokens to boost cards up to 5 so that I can snap a card from the display, and I'm going to snap this common wall lizard because it gives me a reptile icon. Too bad it doesn't give me an Asia. Oh, yeah, we'll just have to discard the reindeer. It's no problem. Okay, because we have a hand limit of 3, so I'm not too worried about that. All right, now that was our last turn. Cards moves down to 1. And now we take this top cube, move it up here to the donations area, move these back over. We discard the reindeer card because that will bring us down to our hand limit of 3. We'll bring back our association worker. These move down because of my cards action. And there's a wave icon, so this goes away, these go down again. And now, oh look, we got another, what's it called? Petting zoo animal. Got so excited. These 2 get discarded as part of our end of round housekeeping. So, woohoo, I'm so excited to see another petting zoo animal come out. Yay. And another reef dweller. Oh, 2 reef dwellers. Woohoo. Interesting. All right. And now we do income. So where are we? We are over here on 20. We also have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces covered up around our restaurant. I probably should have put that kiosk over there. However, that's 24, plus we get 2, I think 2 for a kiosk. No, I can't remember. Collect income for the kiosks on your zoo map. Check each kiosk separately. Take 1 money for each unique building, special enclosure, occupied standard enclosure, and pavilion adjacent to it. Okay, so just 1 money. So we're up to 24, 25. So 25 money. And look at our 3 little reminders here. We get an X token. We get, what else do we have income for? Oh, one of those was the kiosk. What's our other income that we get? Oh, right, the snap a card. So let's see, that's an interesting one, but that's within reputation range. Let's look further up, like this donkey that we might not be able to get without. We want that one? It might go away. No, it takes up 3 in our aquarium. That's a lot. Let's take the donkey. We know we want it. Okay, zoo school. All right, so I think that's all of our income, and now we are on to round 3. And I will, let's see, I don't have a bunch of reptiles yet. I only have 1 Asia. I have 2 Asia icons, actually. We don't have any coming up. Are there any? There's the Indian peafowl over here, but we would need 4 Asia icons in order to Also, we could do this research. Oh, we only have one. You know what I think we need to do is maybe we come up here and we're going to do this one that lets us increase our hand size, and it moves us one on the reputation track, which is going to let us flip a card, upgrade a card. So I think we're going to upgrade either association or animals. I think association. I think that's actually a no-brainer. Don't know why I thought about it. Okay, so we upgraded association, so now we can perform one or more different association tasks with a total maximum value of our strength. And in addition, we can now make a donation. So that's great. And for our first term, we don't have any sponsors cards. Oh, we already did. We took our association. So, okay, whoops, see, gotta move the cubes. Gotta put the cubes on the card to keep track of everything. We don't have sponsors. How'd that get back up there? So, oh, we didn't ever do that action, did we? It would give us 5 money. We could do animals. Do we have 2 animals we could do? We do. So we could do animals and boost it, or are we gonna have sponsors? And we're not gonna have, oh, look at that zoo school. Place on at least 2 border spaces, take 1 card from the deck or in reputation range, and it gives us a conservation point and 1 on the reputation track. That's fantastic. However, we're not going to get to cards for a little bit, so let's not worry about that. Let's, as an action, we're going to move sponsors all the way to the left. Or we could build to not have to do that. Hold on, here's what I'm thinking. This is a bonus space. We're going to need a size 1 enclosure to be able to house that common wall lizard. So maybe we're going to do the build action instead. So we're at strength 3. We're going to need 15 money to play these animals. Oh, the donkey doesn't give us reputation. Huh. The horse did. I guess donkeys aren't as of high repute. Okay, anyway, it'll give us some good points. Appeal. Will give us some good appeal. We're going to do the build action. I am going to build a size 1 enclosure. So here's my 5. I'm going to build a size 1 enclosure, and I will build another kiosk. Oh, whoops, that's not a kiosk, that's a pavilion. Turn that over. Okay, so that will cost me 4 money. So I get 1 back. The size 1 enclosure, let's see, it has to be adjacent to, we already have 1 adjacent to water, we need 1 adjacent to rock. Oh, which can't be that one. Is that what I want to do? Well, yeah, this is what I want to do, but okay, well, we'll put it here. This is going to let us take a card within reputation range. And where do we want to put our kiosk? It has to be at least 2 away from the other kiosk. So maybe down here might be good. Okay, so that was our build action. And we're going to do our animals action. We're going to boost it with an X token to be able to play 2 animals, be efficient with our actions. So we're going to play these 2 animals. This European grass snake is going to turn over this enclosure. It requires water, so it needs that one. And we put a cube in our petting zoo to represent our donkeys. Now we have a horse and a donkey. As we've paid our money, we've flipped things and put cubes out, and this says after finish, oh, this is great. If I'd read this, I wouldn't have been fretting so much. After finishing the current action, you may place any action card on 1. So we'll be able to put sponsors on 1 after we're done with this. Here we get to gain an X token. That's great. And then we gain 3 for each petting zoo animal icon in our zoo. So now we have 2 of them, so we gain 6 appeal. And then we get 3 appeal for our European grass snake. All right, so there's our petting zoo animal. There's our European grass snake. And remember, after we move animals over, we now get to move sponsors to 1, and that's what we're doing for after finishing the current action. You may place any action card on 1. So we are going to do that with sponsors. That was really nice. That worked out well. Yay. Love it when things work out well. For the cards, or for our next action, we can't do association. Oh, we didn't pay our money. Haha. Almost got off scot-free. 15 is our money that we owe, so we get 5 back. Okay. One of these days I'll do live playthroughs, and then you guys can yell at me in the chat when I do stuff like that. Okay. We're doing our last turn. Do we want to do the cards action? What's this? Oh, this one gives us a conservation point. You may remove 1 empty standard enclosure from your zoo map and gain back its costs. That's pretty useful, but it takes up 3 in an aquarium, and we don't have 3 in an aquarium, so we can't even use that one. The Nile crocodile's pretty good. We will soon have 2 reptile icons. This requires 3, but if we use our animals card when it's on 5, we can ignore one of the requirements. Here we have the southern blue-ringed octopus. That would give us an X token, and it's a reef dweller. Oh, and it only takes up 1. Blue-ringed octopus is quite, I don't know if the right word here is venomous or poisonous. I think poisonous is the right word. So it's poison if it makes you sick when you ingest it. It's venom if it gets injected into you to make you sick. And I think with the blue-ringed octopus, I think its tissue is just poisonous. The Nile crocodile is going to go away, but then if we move that, then the southern blue-ringed octopus will go away. So I'm doing the cards action. That's what I'm doing. Which one do we want more? We don't need sea animals, but I do like that reef dweller action. And that needs a size 5 enclosure or 3 in the reptile house, which is quite a lot. This says 2 times gain any 1 card from the display. It's going to be a while before we can do this one though, because we'd have to build up to that. Whereas the reef dweller, that was pretty good. 4 points, 9 points for the crocodile. I think I have to go for the reef dweller, and here's why. Because when I play a reef dweller into my zoo, I get to activate these other reef dweller abilities. And so this is going to let me advance on the reputation track. It's going to give me 2 appeal in addition to 3 money for this one. It's a hard decision to give up not going for the Nile crocodile, but I think that's my best decision. If not, oh well, just a game, right? Okay, so that was my last turn of round 3. We take this cube, move it up here, and move these cubes back over. I have a hand. Oh, my hand limit is now 5. I forgot about that. So we have a size 5 hand limit, so we're good. We take back our association worker and take these 2 cards off of here. Bye, Nile crocodile. See you later. See you later, crocodiler. That didn't rhyme. Just alligator, crocodile. Doesn't sound the same. Okay, so now we need income. Oh wait, that's a reef, or not a reef. I keep wanting to call that reef. It is a wave. It's gonna whoosh the cards right out of the end there. All right. And income. So I get from the board, did I move all my, yeah, I moved all my points. Okay, so from the board, I get 22, and then from my map, I have 1. Now, enclosures that are not flipped don't count towards kiosk income. So this gets 1 income, this gets 1 income, and then I get 4 income still from around my restaurant. So that's an additional 6 on top of the 22, so that's 28. I've got 2 right here that I'm going to put in and get 30 back out. Just so that you can see how much money I have more easily. All right, that was that income. I also have an X token income. And that's it. Kiosks, X token. Oh, yeah, that's why there's 3 of those up there. I get to snap a card. It's a reef. It's another reef dweller. But do I have room? Do I have room? So this is going to take up another. I would have 1 more space in this aquarium. This allows me to place a free kiosk or pavilion as its reef dweller ability. Zoo school I really like. So maybe let's snap zoo school. Diversity researcher. We'll look at these here in a minute. I do like the reef, but zoo school gives me a conservation point. It has to be placed on at least 2 border spaces. That's not going to be a problem. Okay, so that was my bonus income from my map. Please do not be a wave. Oh, good. Chinese water dragon. Nice. Oh, Asia icon. We need more of those. We've only got 2 so far. We don't have any over here. I'm not doing very good with that conservation. All right. Oh, hey, migration recording. Release into the wild. Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's not great. But it does give us a research icon. Oh, so does diversity researcher. You may cover water and rock spaces. Oh, that's nice. Ignore all requirements for water and rock spaces. Gain 2 for each water and rock icon. Nice. Okay, so we are starting round 4. We are going to start with the association action. What should we do? Do we have enough to do? How many reptiles do we have? We've got another reptile over there. Wait, maybe we're not going to do association first. We have 1. Oh, we only have 1 reptile and 2 Asia. Huh. But this would give us this. Yeah. Okay, man, we're running low on turns in the game, but I want to be able to do this. This is going to be good. So I'm gonna do the association action. I'm a little bit tired. All right, I'm gonna do this one, and now this says I can perform 1 or more different association tasks with a total maximum value of X. So that's a value of 4. I'm at strength 5. If I boost this with an X, oh, but I don't have another worker. I need to get another worker. All right, so, oh, look, this is going to let me turn another card, right? That's the icon right there. So what cards should we do? I don't think sponsors. We're not doing so much with sponsors. Animals, maybe? Either animals or cards. It would allow me to snap a lot sooner and not have to get all the way to 5. Animals, however, lets me play 2 animals sooner, or move me on the reputation track, or let me ignore a condition. That seems pretty valuable. Let's do that. Let's upgrade animals. All right. So that was for covering that up. And I do want 3 universities because this will give me a conservation point at the end of the game if I have 3 universities. So I need to keep that in mind. So that was my associate. Oh, and 1 or more. I boosted it. Did I pay an X token? Don't think I did. I think I only had 2 here. So I'm going to pay well, we'll see in editing. I'm going to pay an X token. No, I didn't, because I don't have another worker. It's the second time I've tried to do that. If I had another worker, I could go here and get 2 reputation. That's what I keep trying to do. However, I can make a donation, and I'm going to do that. So it'll cost me 7 to make a donation. I will spend 7. And I get to move 1 on the conservation track. So there's that. All right, well, that was more complicated than it needed to be because I kept forgetting I don't have an extra worker yet. In the multiplayer game, I would definitely have an extra worker by now, but not so in the solo game. But now I would really like an extra worker because I have boosted associations, and now that would be really nice. Where am I going to get an extra worker? If I move up the reputation track a little bit more, I can get an extra worker that way. Where else? Where else do I get an extra worker? Oh, by supporting a conservation project. That could be the next thing that I do. So I now have 3 research icons. If I can get up to 5, I will, or 4. 4 really would be enough. Are there any? Oh, migration recording, diversity researcher. We liked that one. And that would give us a research icon. That's pretty nice. Can I play any animals? I think I can play both of these animals, and I've upgraded my animals card, so let's do that. I've upgraded my animals card, so I can play 2 animals. And can I afford them? It's going to cost me 16. Yes. Money is not usually too much of an issue in the solo game. Every once in a while you get a money bottleneck, but not too often. All right, so so I'm going to pay 21 to get 5 back. So I have paid for these cards, paid for them. This one is going to turn over this size 1 enclosure that's next to a rock. And I need to put a cube in my aquarium. This one just gives me 2 appeal. This one gives me 4 appeal. And I gain an X token, And it's a reef dweller, so I get its reef dweller effect, which is 3 money. I'm just going to put 2 money in and take 5 out. And I activate these other reef dweller effects. So 2 appeal and move 1 on the reputation track. Wow, that's great. Okay, and I did all the things for that. But now we have, just 2. We have 2 reptile icons. We're still looking for Asia icons too. Those are not being plentiful, are they? Okay, so we did all the animals action. And, we could do sponsors. Play 1 sponsor card with a maximum level of X. We're at 4, however, I could boost it with an X token, so let's do that. We'll boost it up to 5 so that I can play Zoo School. Let's do that. And I get, where's the school up here? Here it is. Okay, just off camera. This has to place on at least 2 border spaces. And then I'm going to be able to take a card within reputation range, which is great because we have that frilled lizard right there. Just has to be on 2 border spaces. I think we will cover up these 2 border spaces. Right? Yeah, because I don't want to cover up anything next to water or rock in case I need to do that. Oh, actually, let's see. This is, if we go here, but that's sponsor action. Yeah, let's stick with our original plan. Just put it there. All right, and then take 1 card from the deck or in reputation range. So I think I wanted to take the frilled lizard because it gives me a lizard icon. I need to build a reptile house, I think. I get to move 1 on the reputation track and 1 on the conservation track. That was the main reason I wanted the zoo school. Okay, now, because you don't usually fill up your map in the solo game, so I'm not even trying for I think you get points. Yeah, if you cover your zoo map completely, you get 7 appeal, but I don't think I've ever done that in the solo game, so I don't really think about it. Okay, that was my sponsors action. Oh, it says additionally, you may trade 1 X marker for 5 money or vice versa. Do I need more money? Let's move this down while I think about that. Oh, look at that nice leopard that does nothing for my conservation. Oh, this one's Asia and a reptile, and it's cheap. Yeah, I think I'll keep my X tokens. Those are valuable. All right, for my last action of this round, what are we gonna do? I think we're gonna build a reptile house. It should be touching rock and water to be most effective. And you know what? Maybe I should retroactively, the zoo school I just did on my last turn, I think I'm gonna put it, no, water. No, we can go up there for rock and water. Yeah, I think I am. I'm gonna retroactively move my zoo school. That was just my last turn. It's gonna give me 5 money because I'm covering up a bonus spot. That's not why I did it though. I did it so I can put my reptile house right here. So I'm doing the build. I get to build 1 or more different buildings with a total maximum size of X. I pay 2 per space, but now I can get a reptile house. So let's do that. And it will cost me 10 because it's a size 5 enclosure. Oh, wait, that's not the, oh dear. Yeah, no, moving the zoo school back. Put my 5 back. I messed myself up. I was thinking that the reptile house was this shape, right, which would go there, but it's not. It's this shape. So undo the undoing of the zoo school, and that way, oh, but that can't go there because I don't have, it's not connected. But I can boost build. Let's boost build 1 time and pay 2. I have an idea. Pay 2. And now I can do, should I do a kiosk? Yeah, let's do kiosk. So this is at least 2 spaces away. So I can put a kiosk right here. I'm gonna do that first. Then I'm gonna put the reptile house right here. So it's touching both rock and water because some reptiles like rock, some like water. And I covered up that 5 space, so take that back. Okay, did that. that was my build action. I boosted it with an X token so that I could build the kiosk, which is going to give me a little more income. That's great. Okay, that is the end of round 4. We move this up to the donations area. Move these. We have 5 turns left in the game. This is where I start to panic. 5 turns left in the game. Good with hand size. We never needed to boost that, but it did move us up the reputation track, and we're about to be able to get a new worker, so that's great. Oh, but we should have gotten that black-side hawkfish, because look, it was a reef animal, but too late now, because that's going to go away. But first, we take our association worker back, and then we take these 2 cards off. Bye-bye, hawkfish. Maybe we'll get another reef dweller come out. Nope. All right, and did the cards. Now we do income. We're up to 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I'm going to put 1 in so I can take 35. So we're doing pretty good on money. Just don't really have cards to play. We also get an X token. That has been really fabulous income, and we get to snap a card. A little too late to get our hawkfish, but diversity researcher, we were looking at this earlier. That seems like a good thing to do. So is the Chinese water dragon, to be honest, but this is going to let us do a conservation project, so I think we definitely want to do that, because now we're up to 1, 2, 3. This would put us up to 4 to support that. So let's snap diversity researcher. Do that. And then if we do a conservation project, we can get another worker. So for our first action, do we want to do the cards action at all? Do we need to? I think we do need to. What gives us the most points out here? What gives us an Asia icon? We're doing terrible with that. Or how many reptiles do we have? Really? Only have 2. That would give me 3. I need 1 more. There's a Chinese water dragon. Pretty good. And an Asia icon. Okay, let's do the cards action. We're going to snap a card. All right. Okay. And that moves over. This moves down. Now we're going to do an association action. No, we're not. We're going to do animals action. And do I have space for both of these? Indeed, I do. Oh, back up a minute. One time when I buy the reptile house, I can go back to the reptiles that I've already played. I can only do this once, and I forgot, so I'm going to mulligan it. Sorry for those that don't like mulligans, but that's the beauty of solo gaming, right? These were both in size 1 enclosures, 1 touching water, 1 touching rock. I get to flip these back over because now those 2 reptiles are going to live in my reptile house. That's going to actually cost me and it would have cost me an income if I had done it when I was supposed to. So let me put that back. Okay. And now, but they don't take up any space in my reptile house, which is awesome. Now we're going to play these 2 animals. We're doing the animals action. I need to boost it by 1. No, I don't need to boost it by 1 because it's upgraded, so I get to play 2 animals. However, if I boost it by 1, I can move 1 on the reputation track. So let's do that. Does that seem worth it? No, I think we're going to need these yeah, we're going to need those. Trust me, because we're going to want to do association another time as well. So let's do both of these. That's going to cost me, this one has an Asia icon, and I do have an Asia partnership, so that's going to be 5, that's 12, so 17 out of 20. All right, and I have to put 1 cube in my reptile house. This one takes up 0 room in my reptile house. This one lets me draw a card from the deck. Boom. Sloth Bear. After finishing the current action, you may place your association action card on. This is great. Woo, like that one. And it's an Asia icon. That's pretty nice. All right, that was my frilled lizard action. Sunbathing. You may sell up to 2 cards from your hand for 4 each. I like all my cards, so no, not doing it. 8 appeal. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's great. So now we have 4 lizard icons. We don't have any more coming. There's none up there, so we're probably at the most we're going to have for the game. So now I'm going to do the association action, and did I forget something? No, I didn't. Okay, now we're going to do the association action. I will support a conservation project. I am going to get an extra worker to support reptiles. I have 4. Yep, I have 4 reptile icons, so I'll support that one. Let's move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, we just hit a jackpot. Okay, so we're doing the association action. We did that. That was 5. We're going to be able to make a donation, so hold on to that thought. I'm going to take this for the university because I have something that gives me a bonus for having all 3 universities. And, oh, this is going to be great. Look, this one has a research icon, and it moves me 2 on the reputation track, which gets me an extra worker. And I don't know if I can use that this turn. I wonder if I can. I don't think so because I didn't have it at the start of my... Let me think about that while I finish this up. Okay, so it moved me 2 on the reputation track. That was for getting this. I didn't cover anything up, so that's not extra. And I get to choose one of these. That's actually a tougher decision. Oh, I'm gonna be able to upgrade a card, and it will. I could get a partner zoo, which would allow me to upgrade a card. I could upgrade sponsors. Is that going to be important? X+1. It might be, but it might not be. Cards doesn't really. Oh, does let me snap at a lower level. That's appealing. The other option, instead of taking the partner zoo, would be able to do an action twice, which when I have so few actions remaining is quite a bonus. However, being able to snap a card might be better. I just realized I haven't been taking my income from my marine biologist. I'm owed 6 for those. I'm pretty sure, or at least 3. I know I didn't take it for the southern blue-ringed octopus. I'm procrastinating now on making a decision, but I'm pretty sure I didn't take it for that, so I'm going to put 2 back and take 5. I think I also didn't get it for that one, but I don't know for sure about that. I do know for sure about the octopus, so I think I'm going to take the ×2. Oh no, that's going to go away. This is my last turn of the round. I don't even know why I was agonizing over that. I have to take the partner zoo. So the thing with these ×2 is they actually go away at the end of every round, and so since this is my last turn of the round, I wouldn't even get an opportunity to use that. Oh, that's a shame. That's a really nice one at this for a solo game. Instead, I'm going to get a partner university. I think I'm going to, for my income, oh, that won't be available to me because they're going to go away. For my income, what am I going to snap? There's 2 cards. May share an existing. I don't have any. I don't have any herbivores. That's interesting and unusual. Ericon, hydrologist. Yeah, not connecting all the water spaces. Northern Muraki. Reveal cards from the deck. Take the first card. That doesn't matter, but it gives me a conservation point, and it's cheap. But it requires a size 4 enclosure, which I don't have. Wish there was reptiles out there. Well, I guess we'll see what comes out. I'm just going to have to, let's see, we would like reptiles if they come out, or things that take up just 1 space, which could be a small mammal maybe? I don't know, but it's more likely to be a reptile. And reptiles are most likely to live where? Everywhere. Reptiles live everywhere. Where do my reptiles live? Europe, Australia, Asia. We don't have one from the Americas yet. Yes, we're going to take a risk, and if nothing else, it would count towards that one maybe. We'll take the Americas. That's going to let me upgrade a card, and for my upgrade, I am going to... what am I going to upgrade? Sponsors doesn't make sense. Cards. I only get 2 more turns, and one of those is going to be an association action probably. So what's the other one going to be? Animals. So it doesn't matter, actually. I guess cards, just in case I want to snap something, but that doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? Maybe sponsors, because maybe that'll help me. I don't know. We'll upgrade sponsors. Normally I would upgrade cards if I knew I had a lot more turns left, but I don't, so there's that. Oh, and I get another worker because I uncovered that and I passed that, so yeah. I think that's what I want to do. Or I could uncover that and that would give me a size 2 enclosure, which may be useful, might not be useful at all. Okay, we still got one left in our aquarium as well, so I think we're doing okay. We'll just take the worker. I've probably made all sorts of wrong decisions, but that's it. Move association down because we supported that conservation project. And move one of these up here. Oh, did we want to make a donation? Yes. I think so. I think that's not a bad move. So it cost us 10. We would have made it right there. And I get to move 1 on the conservation track. Okay, and that's it for round 5. I already moved my cube up, move those over. Hand size is fine. And we take these 2 cards, move these down. Oh, take back my association worker. I have 3 workers. This may be completely useless or very useful. No waves. That's great. Not great, actually, because I don't really need either of those. Actually, this could work. Okay, we're on to income. I am over here at 26. Then I also have 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I will put 1 in and get 35. We're swimming in money now. And I get to snap a card, and I get an X token. That X token is going to be oh so valuable here in a moment. Okay, and we're going to snap a card. So is there any, oh, these are, I didn't want those to come out. We have no place to put the Muraki or the kangaroo, so those don't do me any good. So maybe the side entrance? Place some 2 border spaces. Well, yeah, that doesn't do me any good. I don't have enough X tokens to boost. None of these cards do me any good at all. I wish a wave had come out. We needed more animals because I could play 2 animals, but oh, actually no, I can't. It's in the wrong spot. So it doesn't really matter what I take. We'll just take the side entrance. Okay, that's probably something we could have used. No, we didn't have enough space. Okay, oh, but it is a wave. I don't think this is going to matter, but just because we have to, yeah, it doesn't matter. All right. So what are we going to do? We can either do sponsors or we can do animals. I know I'm going to do association. So let's see. Sponsors, diversity research. You may cover, doesn't matter. I get 2 money. That doesn't matter. I get at the end of the game for each pair of water and rock icons. So what do I have? 1 pair, 2 pair, max of 3. So I only have 2 pair. That would get me 4 appeal. This would get me 4 appeal. This gets me 6 appeal. So I guess we'll play an animal. That answers that question. We're gonna play an animal. This sloth bear right here. So that'll cost me 14 minus 3 is 11. And boost association. Oh, this is great. So actually, since that's gonna, actually, yeah, no, okay, sorry, just thought a whole bunch of things in my head. After finishing the current action, you may place your association action card on 1 or 5. So that's fabulous. That's perfect timing. And we get 6 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and that gives us an Asia icon. So now we have a total of 4 because we have 1 over here and 3 out here. Okay, so whoops, animals moves down, that moves over. And now we get to boost association to, how does this work? To 5. I think we keep moving stuff. I can't remember how that works when you boost something to 5. I think you just keep moving stuff over. Okay, so now association's at 5. That's all that really matters because now we're definitely taking the association action. We are supporting a conservation project, and additionally I get to perform 1 or more different association tasks, and I get to make a donation. So the first thing I'm going to do is, oh, I get 3 X tokens if I use this one. Let's do that. We're going to support the Asia Conservation Project because I have 4 Asia icons. That gets me 3 conservation points. We now have to choose between these. It's kind of a moot point though. It's the end of the game. So we just have to choose one of those because we passed 10 on the conservation track. All right, and that's all we get from that, except we also get 3 X tokens from that first one. I wonder if I can use these now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, actually. So I get those. It doesn't matter. I can only get 2 of them, actually, because you have a max of 5. But I'm, oh, yeah, boosting my second action to, perform 1 or more different association tasks with a total maximum value of X. So here's a 5 boost so that my total maximum value is 10. Okay, and now I have to use 2 workers to do another conservation project. I'm going to move my coffee cup and support this research conservation project for, I have 4 research icons in my zoo. Doesn't really matter what I do now. Okay, does it matter? Now let's meet, oh yeah, it does matter. I am going to take this one that gives me a size 2 enclosure. You'll see why in a minute. So this is going to go here. I have 4 research icons. It moves me 3 on the conservation track. 1, 2, 3. This is the fun combo stuff that happens at the end. Here's my size 2 enclosure. I'm going to place it right here. It allows me to do the sponsors action just by paying where it is, and it gets me an X token. So I have to pay for the level that I use it at, and I am going to use it at level 5. It's too bad I couldn't have done that first because it has a research icon, but that was how I got that, so too bad. So now, let's see, I'm doing the sponsors action. Oh, whoops, after. So this goes down. Sponsors is at 4. And we're going to boost it to 5 with my X token. And play this. I have to pay 5 to do that. Okay. And this is all because I covered up that spot on my map. So there we go. I probably just broke all sorts of rules. I don't know if I was allowed to use that X token. Oh, but it's X plus 1, so I didn't have to. Yep, that's right. When you upgrade sponsors, sponsor cards with a total maximum value of level of X plus 1, and we're on 4, so we can do this one that's 5, so that's great. What this gets us is right away gain 2 for each water and rock icon. That doesn't matter because we're not going to count income at the end. So does this give me any? That doesn't give me any. Of course it doesn't. However, we do have 2 pair of water and rock icons, so at the end of the game that's going to give us a little bit of a boost on appeal. So that's always nice. I think that is everything. I think now we are just doing final scoring. A little drink of coffee, which is totally cold right now, but that's okay. All right, so we're at endgame scoring. We have to choose which one of these we're going to use because we passed on our last turn. The 10 on the conservation track. So this is gain conservation for different shaped buildings. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So that would get me 2 conservation points. Conditions on cards. Huh, I think we totally failed at that. Well, wow, we have no conditions on our cards. We will get rid of that one. Okay, so we're keeping Designer Zoo. Right, and we're at endgame scoring, so I think we decided we had 6 different buildings, so that's 2 conservation points, and 2, so that's done. Let's take a look. None of these have endgame scoring, right? Nope. Nope. Animals don't usually. I don't know if any of them do, but these ones do. Okay, so I have 2 pairs of water and rock icons, right? I shouldn't have piled these up because that's how I know. Yeah, 2 pairs, so that gets me 4 points on appeal. Whew, we may win. That doesn't give me any endgame. This one gives me 1 conservation point because I have all 3 of these Oh, whoops, I should have gone from the bottom up. I was going to get excited there for a minute. I have all 3 of these museums, so I get 1 more conservation point. Unfortunately for me, I think that's it. Yeah, we did all of our endgame scoring. We don't have anything over here. I think that's it. So the way scoring works is we see where our conservation marker is, and we take the lowest number that is covered up by that green, right? So 70 is our target score that we're trying to beat, and we got 65, so I have -5 points. I did not win, but it was a lot of fun. I actually managed to support 4 conservation projects, which is really unusual for me. So that's fantastic. And as usual, the solo game map is quite pathetic. I don't hardly cover any of it. But we actually managed to play a fair number of animals. It's just that we had an aquarium and a petting zoo and a reptile house. So that was quite helpful. Now you have seen how the solo game plays. So now I'll do a little bit of a review, I guess, for Ark Nova. I'll just be upfront about this. This is one of my favorite games. I rate this a 10. It's so much fun. So from a scientific standpoint, I love the theme, right? It's this idea of a conservation, the intersection of conservation and zoos. So zoos serve conservation on many levels. The first is just simply through education, because it turns out that people mostly aren't going to save what they don't know about, right? So zoos are a great way to get people excited about animals from an early age. And, that just gets them excited maybe about preserving their habitat or, helping out the animals in some way. And so that's one way that zoos help support conservation, but they also do it more directly. A lot of zoos do, especially more so these days. So through captive breeding programs or through directly supporting wildlife conservation efforts, by bringing in money, the money that you pay at the door for a lot of zoos actually goes to help support conservation efforts, because they'll partner. So this is this theme part where we have I think these are called partner zoos, but really I think about these as partner organizations, because sometimes the partner organization might be a conservation organization. So, and that makes total sense. Maybe you have a partnership with an Asia Conservation Association that is helping to, maybe save an endangered species in the wild, and you're partnering with them through captive breeding efforts or something like that to reintroduce animals out in the wild. Or perhaps another way that zoos participate in conservation efforts is by donating genetic material, right? So instead of moving the animals around, they usually just move the semen around, right, so that they can, or eggs in that case. I don't know if they move eggs around so much as the semen, but anyway, they support conservation efforts that way. And I'm probably forgetting some other ways too, but zoos these days, they didn't used to be, but zoos these days are usually at least moderately involved in conservation efforts through means other than just simply education. So that's fantastic. And so I really love the theme of the game. I think, the fact that you have university partnerships and with these research icons, and the reputation track to me is representing scholarship, which is, really represented well by the icons being, I don't know what those are called, but these are the caps that you wear for graduation. And then the appeal track, you earn points there by putting animals into your zoo to make it more appealing, right? And you also get appeal by partnering with people like marine biologists, or having a school, a zoo school, or partnering with a technology institute. This is a diversity researcher. And so partnering up with researchers to further their research goals. And so I love the theme. And I don't always appreciate cards that have real pictures on them, but in this game it works better, I think, than if we had artistic representations of these animals. I think it just really lends a very nice, realistic, this looks like a real kangaroo, because it is a real kangaroo, and this is a northern murrekie that's a picture of a northern murrekie, and whoever chose these pictures did a fabulous job. I mean, look at these penguins. Isn't that just awesome, so adorable. And the giraffes with the baby giraffe and the mama giraffe. Anyway, whoever chose the pictures on all 200 and some cards just did a fabulous job. Oh, look at this ring-tailed lemur. I went to the Duke Lemur Center one time on a field trip when I was an undergraduate. That was fun. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So theme, I really like the theme. I think the mechanism of tile placement is one that I really like. It's a bit of, set collection, right? Because you're supporting these conservation projects through set collection and playing these cards, matching them. So you're kind of fulfilling contracts because you're matching animals to their enclosures, and the enclosures actually do reflect some of the biology of that animal. So that's great. I like the choices you have in this game on your turn. You have 5 choices of actions, and you're going to be swayed over which ones you're really examining to look at based on their strength, right? And so there's not so many decisions that it's overwhelming. Now, I am someone who is prone to analysis paralysis, and so the last few turns in this game sometimes take me a little bit longer, but for the most part, if I'm not talking through my turns like I am in a video, I can knock out a solo game in 45 to 50 minutes. It's a great game for me to do over coffee in the morning, actually, is my favorite time to play this game. So that is, so the decision space is really nice here. So the theme is fantastic. The mechanisms are great. I like the way that we cycle through the cards. I really like in the Marine Worlds expansion, the addition of this wave, even though it worked against me a couple times in this game, but it does add, especially in the solo game, it adds a little bit of an attention to the display, because before the addition of the Marine Worlds expansion, you knew that when things were going to leave the display, how long they were going to be out there, but now there's an element of surprise because of that wave icon, so that makes it even a little more fun. The marine organisms are great. I mean, look at this short-snouted seahorse. That is fantastic. And I like these reef dweller actions that you can collect those and trigger the action or the bonus or whatever again and again. I don't know how many of these there are in the deck, but apparently I didn't do a great job of shuffling because I feel like there's a lot. Actually, I don't think we had that many marine animals. Maybe I just noticed them because of our sea animals conservation project. Yeah, I guess there wasn't actually all that many. So, but enough. There was enough, that's for sure. I have played this game the most out of any game in my collection. I think at this point I've definitely played it over 50 times. I think it's in the ballpark of 53 or 54 times. Probably about 2/3 solo, 1/3 at 2 players. We've played it once at 3 players, but I think our son was a little too young when we introduced this to him for him to appreciate it. I actually think he would like it now. This game would definitely be too much for my mom. I think this has too much going on for her. I think she would enjoy the part of filling in your map with the animals, but I think having to consider the conservation projects and the partner zoos and the universities, I think that would add a layer too much. I don't know if this has a simpler version. I don't think it does. That would be an interesting thing to look up on Board Game Geek to see if there was sort of more of a simpler family version, because if my mom was only considering filling up her zoo, so planning ahead by buying the enclosures, filling up her zoo, and populating with animals and doing the researchers, I think she wouldn't mind the fact that there's 3 scoring tracks. Well, there's actually only 2 scoring tracks. The reputation track gives you all sorts of bonuses. I think the conservation projects and everything up here would just be going a little too far for her. It would put her a little over the edge and not be able to enjoy it. So this is definitely a heavier game in its full capacity. So I would not recommend it to somebody who is new or even relatively new to gaming. I think I've already talked about what's fun about this game. I did mention towards the end of the game, you end up with a lot more of these combinations that happen because you're uncovering these bonuses over here by supporting conservation projects, which sometimes allows you to cover bonuses on your board. You get bonuses from the cards. It's just, sometimes there's a cascading effect, and that seems to happen more often towards the end of the game. So Maybe that's because, I'll bet actually, now that I think about it, that's probably because of the upgrades that you have for your cards. One thing I forgot to point out, I'm glad I upgraded sponsors because it turned out in my favor, but I usually upgrade cards, well, especially in the multiplayer game. I usually don't move very far up the reputation track. Take that as you will when I play solo, but you can't move past 9 if you have not upgraded your cards action. So I did not do that, so I wouldn't have been able to move further actually. I think this is fun at all player counts. So like I said, I've played it mostly solo and 2-player. We played it once with our son at 3-player. I could imagine playing this at 4. Now I have heard people complain that this game takes too long at higher player counts. When we play at 2 players, I think it's about a 90-minute game. So what is that, an extra half an hour per person? So I think at 4 players, you're probably looking at 2 to 2.5 hours, for depending on how AP prone the people are. But what people tend to not appreciate about this game is that it's a little bit of a race, because you want to be in a multiplayer game. You want to be the one controlling when the break happens, so you're not caught flat-footed with too many cards in your hand that you then have to discard cards you worked hard to get. You also want to be in control of when the game ends so that you're not left with actions you want to take. Although I say that with a caveat, and that is that when somebody crosses their 2 scoring markers, they trigger the end of the game, but everybody else gets 1 more turn. And I think, if I remember correctly, that person who triggered it does not get another turn. And so it may be that you cheat yourself out of a turn. I'm not a big fan of games that do that. I like it when games give everybody the same number of turns. So I wish that it would do that. I will say one house rule that we've implemented, and then I'll say another thing that I've heard people do, is you are dealt 8 cards at the start of the game. Sometimes it'll happen that you'll end up with, like, just because of maybe poor shuffling or something, 5 or 6 sponsorship cards and 2 animals, and maybe they're horrible animals. Well, they would be great if it was later in the game, but you wouldn't be able to afford them right away. So we do have a house rule that you can one time discard all 8 of your cards that you were given and draw 8 new cards, but you can only do it once. And so that's a house rule. It's not in the rule book. I have also heard, and this may even be in the rule book, but since we only play at 2 players, I don't think we've ever done this, do a drafting mechanism where everybody starts with 8 cards, but that's going to add probably another 15 minutes onto the game if you do a draft of the starting cards. And what other house rules do we have? It didn't come up in this game, but another house rule we have, I think there was one early in the game, wasn't there? Yeah, okay, so we have a house rule where these cards that come out that you can't play beyond a certain point on the appeal track, that if all players are beyond that point and this card were to come up in the display, that it just gets discarded and the display gets refreshed. So that is a house rule that we play with. It is not in the rule book, but I think it's a fair one, because why have a card out there that nobody even has a chance to play? Now, there may be a bunch of cards that nobody wants to play, but that's a whole different story, right? So I think I have talked about, I've got my little checklist that I look over when I do these reviews. So how many times I've played it, player counts, what is fun to me. I think I've talked about that, talked about the mechanisms, the thoughts that went into purchasing this game. This actually took me a little while to purchase. It was not immediately drawn to the zoo theme. That's not a theme that I'm immediately drawn to. I didn't appreciate how much of a conservation focus this game has. And once I realized how much of a conservation focus it has, I think I saw a playthrough or something, maybe a solo playthrough on somebody's channel. And then I decided, oh, actually, I think I'm really going to like this game. Maybe it was when it shot up in the BGG ratings. I don't know. I took a closer look at it at some point and bought it, I think, late in 2022. I can't remember when this came out. But anyway, that was the decisions that went into buying it. It took a little bit to win me over, but when it did, it did. And the price point on this, I think, is around $60 or $70. You can get it reliably for, I think, around $50 to $60. And I think that price point's fine. It comes with tons of components, right? And these nice trays, so you don't need to get a specialized insert for the game. I know some people will anyway, but you don't need to. I have a couple of card holders that I use to hold the cards, and I have it so that each player color has its own box. Here, I'll show you how that works. So for each player color, I have, you can put all of the cards into the deck, and then I don't want to disassemble this because I want to take a couple of pictures, but the cubes then go on there, all of the tokens for that player color, and then you close it. And this is just a cheaper card box that I got, I think, off of Amazon. Anyway, I do that for each of the player colors, and that's it. Other than that, all the tokens fit in to these trays. I think there's a couple of the zoo enclosures that don't quite fit the way I've got it set up. However, I have a little baggie that has the extra pieces in it that is set aside in the box. So anyway, I think for the price point of $50 to $60, I think this is a good value. If you're going to play it enough times to justify that cost, of course. I would not want to tell anybody what they could afford. But if you can afford to spend that on the game, you like the theme, and you're going to spend that money anyway on a game, this one I think is worth that price. I've talked about the decisions on your turn. What do you do between turns? So the downtime in between, I'm always thinking about what I'm planning on doing on my turn. So the downtime in this has never seemed too much to me. So there's that. Talked about player counts, decisions on your turn, visual appeal. I talked about that with the pictures. Visually, it's great. You can get additional maps for variety. So if we talk about variability, there's tons of cards. I don't even have actually all the cards out there. So there's this many cards. So I don't know if you can see that. There's this many cards in the game, plus whatever's already out there. I took that down because I couldn't see the point, the appeal track over there with the cards stacked up so high. So that's why I did that. So there's tons of variability. There are a bunch of these base conservation projects. You start with, or you have 4 of them in a 4-player game, and then you have 3 of them in a solo 2 or 3-player game. And there are plenty of these end of game scoring cards. So everybody gets dealt 2 at the start of the game, and then when they pass 10 on the conservation points track, they would have to choose which one of those to keep. But there's plenty for variability. Plenty of cards, plenty of maps. The base game comes with a number of maps. So there's a map on the other side that's the 0 map. It's the beginner map. And then you can then play with the more advanced maps where everybody has their own map with their own bonuses. The bonuses over here for supporting conservation projects will change depending on what map you're using. The bonuses on the map will change, and the layout of the map will change. So great variability on this game, and tons of bonus tiles. I think you saw me shuffling them earlier, but there's tons of bonus tiles. And in fact, let's see. So this is one of the ones that comes with the marine expansion, not those ones. So if we wanted to see which ones come with the marine expansion, one that lets you take your association worker back, that's great. This one, I think if I remember right, this one allows you to add an extra icon for when you're supporting a conservation project. And these ones, let's see, there we go. These 4 of these that came with the Marine Worlds expansion, you can put in your player area and choose when to use them. This one lets you ignore requirements on cards. That's quite useful. This one increases your hand size and lets you snap a card right away, which is fantastic. I hope you saw in the solo playthrough the value of snapping cards, because you know what you're going to get. You don't end up with a bunch of cards that you don't want. One of the things with this game is you have to be flexible with what cards come out. So while there's enough variety in cards, there's enough of each symbol that, depending on the conservation projects, you're going to have opportunities to get those cards. That's definitely going to come up. I can't imagine a scenario where it doesn't. I don't think I've ever felt like the symbols weren't coming up. Now, if you're playing multiplayer, other people may get them before you, but that's another story, right? So let's see, we've talked about visual appeal, theme, and mechanisms. As far as the relationship between theme and mechanisms, I don't know, really. I mean, I like the partner zoos, but I don't know. I guess with the requirements is where the theme matches up a little bit with the mechanisms. Other than that, it's just a tile laying game. And I guess you could put a different theme on here, but it's very obvious that the theme was a consideration during the design process of this game. So it's not that there was a game and then somebody slapped on a theme. The theme and the game design are intimately intertwined. So I think they match somewhat, although it is a tile laying game, so you could argue there's plenty of mechanisms here that don't necessarily go great with the theme, but I think it does a good job of invoking this, building your zoo. Pretty good table presence, I will say. Talking about table presence, it takes up a huge amount of table space. I will put on the screen the size of this table that I have, but it's pretty much taking up all the space when you consider everything that needs to be on the board. These tiles over here, which you can't even see all of, those tiles, the 2 trays. When we play this 2-player, we have a Jasper board gaming table. And so we have the game set up on the Jasper, and then we could have the trays on the table, but it works out easier for us to put them on a TV tray in between us. And we both sit on the same side of the table. But it does take up all of that space on the Jasper. So definitely need a lot of space to play this game. Talked about length, player interaction. It's all indirect. Maybe people take something you want, or they take a token you want up here, or they support a conservation project at the level you were going to support it. So it's all indirect player interaction. There's no direct player interaction. Everybody's got their own board, their own hand of cards. They're playing their animals into their zoo. And so people can take things you want, but they can't hurt you directly. And so I actually like that. But if you're one that likes more player interaction, this might not be the game for you. I talked a little bit about complexity, luck versus skill. So you are at the mercy of what cards come out into the display, but I think cards cycle through enough, and there's enough variety in the cards that as long as you're adaptable, so tactical thinking, right? Being able to pivot and make different plans, although there's some strategy involved because you can have cards for, more than one round. So I think it's more skill than luck. There's no dice rolling, that's for sure. And you have control over what cards you play, and you do have control over what cards you bring in. Now, you might draw cards from the deck and have to choose one to discard, but that having to discard really mitigates all of that. So look, 3 Africa animals all in a row. Pygmy hippopotamus. Hippopotamuses are so cool looking. All right, going off on a tangent again. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't, right? We've talked about how it's a bit challenging, how it wouldn't be a game for my mom. Uniqueness. I think when this game came out, relatively unique in the way it presented the zoo theme with the conservation. There are other zoo games out there, but I don't think there's a ton of them. I could be wrong about that. So tell me what you think about how unique this game is. I think now there are other games that have adopted some of the way these mechanisms work together. So not so unique anymore, but at the time it came out, I think it was relatively unique in the way that the theme and the mechanisms came together. The mechanisms themselves have been done before: tile laying, playing cards you have to pay for, taking cards from a display. Supporting conservation projects is just set collection, really. So the mechanisms themselves are not unique, but I think the conservation theme was a little bit unique. And I talked about the cost. So component quality is good. The tactile experience is good. I mean, it's not over the top, but it's nice. And like I said, I rate this game a 10 on BGG. Doesn't mean it's a perfect game, but I can't honestly tell you what I would change. I love this game. And like I said, it's the most played game in my collection. So that's what I have to say about it. And that's everything I have for you. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.